Hey, it's Jason. It's been a few weeks now since Apple formally rolled out the iPhone 16 Pro lineup, and if I'm being completely honest, I was pretty underwhelmed. I think I speak for virtually everyone at this point when I say that Apple is beating the hell out of this form factor, and it was disappointing to see that we'd have to go at least one more year with phones that are very familiar. But it's not fair to write off a phone just based on initial reaction, so I actually picked up both the iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max, and I've been using them for about a week now, and I want to go over how my experience has been to give you a much more fair assessment of whether or not the iPhone 16 Pro is the right phone for you. But before we jump into it, a real quick plug for the free JSL newsletter. I send subscribers a new full-res wallpaper every week, as well as links to really good tech deals and random articles written by yours truly. It's totally free. Link to subscribe will be in the description below. Okay, first let's talk about design. The iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max take direct design cues off of the iterative update that the iPhone 15 Pro ushered in. So you still get the relatively new titanium frame that makes the phone lighter and, in theory, more durable than the stainless steel frames Apple used before. I've been enjoying the lighter weight, but I know that there's a sizable group of folks who say that the new phones aren't as premium feeling because it's just not as hefty as before, but I find this change to be a lot more practical. This is especially true with the Pro Max version, as that phone is fatiguing to hold and use for extended periods of time, so this build material on the 16 Pro is a good to see. You also get this new desert sand colorway that I have on the regular 16 Pro here, and it's better in person and way better than some early renders, but it's not my favorite. I think the black titanium looks way more stealthy and clean, and I'm kind of sad that the blue titanium wasn't offered this year. Now you still get the triple camera setup on the back in its familiar configuration, and the same pill-shaped cutout on the front for dynamic island. So what is different? Really only one thing, and it's pretty minor. The screen sizes on both the iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max are slightly larger, with the 16 Pro coming in at 6.3 inches, while the 16 Pro Max now has a sprawling 6.9. Now both phones are ever so slightly larger in dimensions, but the main way Apple was able to achieve these larger screens was by reducing the bezels. It's hard to tell a difference when looking at them on their own, but here's what it looks like compared to the 15 Pro Max, and it's a little bit easier to notice the difference. I will say 1 week later, the 16 Pro is super nice from an immersive screen perspective. I was testing out the Pixel 8a for a while, and that phone has an unapologetically large bezel. The iPhone 16 Pro is the exact opposite of that, and this is one of the thinnest bezels that you're going to see on a phone going into 2025. Now last, and probably the most significant difference here, is that all the iPhone 16s come with Apple's new camera control system. You get this button near the bottom of the frame, and it can be used to quickly launch the camera app and some of the camera features. Now we'll get into the functionality of this new addition later in the review, but from a design and execution standpoint, Apple did a really good job with the integration. Because it lies flush against the frame, it doesn't get in the way when you're holding the phone, and despite Apple refusing to call it a button, it is a button that you can physically press and hold, but it's touch capacitive as well, which is really interesting. It has its own haptic feedback, and overall, it's a really well executed piece of hardware. Now, one thing that hasn't changed with the iPhone 16 Pro's design is its fragility. Remember, this is a glass-on-glass design, which is surprisingly easy to shatter or crack if you're not careful. Well, that's where channel sponsor Torres comes in to solve this problem for you. First of all, this is their new Glasgow X screen protector, and it's probably my favorite screen protector of all time. Not only is this ultra-protective tempered glass that is super scratch-resistant and provides full coverage, Torres has made installing this thing essentially dummy-proof. Just clean off your iPhone using the included cleaning materials, then line up the perfectly sized housing over the device like so. And then from there, all you have to do is pull this tab sticking out at the end, and in literally seconds, you have a perfectly aligned, bubble-free installation that almost immediately gives you peace of mind. This pairs perfectly with their new Torres O-Stand 360 spin case. Not only does this case provide military-grade drop protection from up to 12 feet, it's able to accomplish this while still having a streamlined profile with these rounded corners and grippy textures that's easy to install and doesn't bulk up your phone. Plus, the O-Stand 360 is MagSafe compatible, as it has a super powerful built-in 18N magnet for all of your MagSafe accessories, as well as a precise cutout for the iPhone 16 Pro's camera control button, so you can seamlessly use this new camera feature with zero interruptions. But as Torres is the originator of the O-shaped stand, this case wouldn't be complete without the signature 360 spin stand. The stand allows you to prop up your phone at multiple different angles to best suit your viewing needs. The stand rotates and locks into different different fixed support points while still giving you the flexibility to adjust the stand to find that perfect angle. You can also use the stand as a ring holder to ensure the phone doesn't slip out of your hands, which is super helpful with big phones like the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And they come in a variety of different colors that all look pretty incredible. At the end of the day, Taurus and the iPhone share the same vision of increasing functionality for its users, and the Glasgow X screen protector and the O-Stand 360 spin case are perfect examples of that. If you guys are interested in learning more about either of these, use the link that's in the description below. Get the protection and the functionality that your iPhone deserves. Check out Taurus today. Okay, when it comes to talking about the new features on the iPhone 16 Pro, this is a really interesting topic because this is one of the first times where Apple released their newest phone with most of these said features not available out of the box. Now, the 16 Pros are equipped with the new A18 Pro chips, Apple's latest and most powerful mobile processors, as well as 8GB of RAM, which when paired together should make navigating around Apple's new AI features a walk in the park, or so they claim. 1 week later, there are 0 Apple Intelligence features toggled on, so the user experience has been quite familiar to say the least, and personally, I found it kind of annoying that Apple spends so much time harping about AI and all of these new goodies coming to the iPhone 16 Pro, only to have nothing to show for it. And rather than talk about features I haven't been able to test, the general performance the 16 Pros have shown has been great as to be expected. Everything runs smooth and jitter-free, and Apple did make the battery life this year better, which is always a welcomed upgrade. It's only been a week, but I could easily get through a full day of use on both the 16 Pro and the Pro Max, with the latter being able to comfortably go about a day and a half, even on days of moderate to heavy use. Now, circle back to the new camera control feature, I'm really split on whether or not this is a worthwhile upgrade after using it for about a week. On the one hand, I do appreciate the capability and the engineering prowess that went into engineering this thing. Yes, off the rip, it can look like a pretty straightforward button that you just press to access the camera app, but it's so much more. If you lightly double tap, it brings up a menu of camera features that you could then use your finger to slide across the button to select something. It's a beautiful integration of hardware and software here, and it's kind of crazy how functional this one little button is. But here's the thing, when you first start playing around with it, it's not the easiest and most intuitive control to figure out. Getting used to this light double tap and sliding your finger around to navigate the feature is a bit cumbersome, and even though I will say you do get used to it pretty quickly, it's easy to engage something accidentally, and I feel as though it has more potential to get in the way than actually being helpful, especially if you're trying to do this one-handed. Moreover, I'm not sold that having access to these features using this new button is value added. It wasn't exactly difficult to access it in the first place, so I feel as though it's more of a redundant add-on that doesn't serve a unique purpose. Now, this may change with the new Promise AI feature that basically acts like Google Lens to quickly look stuff up that's in the frame, but for the here and now, as impressive as this button is, I'm not sure it adds much value. But let's talk about the iPhone 16 Pro's cameras. Though pretty similar with last year's 15 Pros, there are some improvements and new features that are worthwhile to talk about. Now, when it comes to still image performance, the photos coming out of the 16 Pro look great, they're sharp, and the iPhone continues to be the most consistent camera suite when it comes to image quality in various shooting environments. The pictures look natural, and if you want, Apple has added a lot more filters they now call photographic styles that can moody up your photo. It can be applied before or after you take a shot, and I actually like these now. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Fuji recipes that are super popular. And one new thing that I've really liked on the iPhone 16 Pro is the new color grid that allows you to quickly and effectively make edits to your photo. This is so much faster than trying to adjust each photo editing category, and it's surprisingly good at very quickly giving you a nicely stylized image. Now, when it comes to video, Apple continues to crush it in this arena. The 4K video that you're able to get out of this phone is still the best by a considerable margin. And the feature I was personally most excited about is the new ability to shoot 4K video in 120 frames per second, and man, the footage comes out really good. You can hate on Apple all you want, but it's pretty insane that this phone can handle 4K 120 at this level of quality, and I love how Apple added this option to the slow-mo mode where it automatically retimes the video for you. All to say, if you're into shooting video with your phone, this is a pretty substantial upgrade in my opinion, and I'm happy to see that Apple continues to invest in this particular area of the camera. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about are the prices for these phones. The iPhone 16 Pro starts off at $999, while the 16 Pro Max has a starting price tag of $1,199. Now, it should be noted that the base storage options are different, as the regular Pro comes with 128 gigabytes of storage, while the base 16 Pro Max comes with 256. And though the prices haven't gone up since last year, given how similar these phones are 1 week later, I'm gonna say that this is probably a no-go for most people. If you have a 15 Pro, it's definitely a hard no, because there's almost no major difference with the 16 Pro, and you will have access to the Apple Intelligence Suite with the support of the A17 Pro chip. And I'd say that if you have a 13 Pro or up, it's still a no until we actually see what Apple Intelligence is. AI has been so disappointing up to this point, I don't think it's a good idea to make a heavy investment on a device based on promises that don't have a good track record. But if you're using an older device, older than the 13 Pro, there's enough general upgrades here that would make the 16 Pro a solid upgrade, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think the 16 Pros are kind of bland like me? Or do you think they're a worthy upgrade? Curious to get your thoughts, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. And in case you guys missed my review of the totally new Pixel 9 and the Pixel 9 Pro, check them out here, they're gonna help you be as informed as possible.